Hello students, a very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing about the change of state and a specific heat. I think the change of state and the curve that we have drawn within the temperature and time, that is completely clear to you. So today let's see the pressure temperature phase diagram. By using the experiment that we have done and that we have studied in last class, we can draw now the phase temperature pressure phase diagram. So let's now if we will see, for an appropriate discussion of three phases of matter, we need a three-dimensional diagram in which pressure, volume and temperature should be plotted on the three mutually perpendicular coordinates such as pressure, volume and temperature diagram. So it means that here what we are trying to do, we are trying to convert our two-dimensional system into three-dimensional, where we can use all three quantities that are defining the state of matter, like whether we can study about the solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. That can be easily understood by pressure, volume and temperature, these three quantities. So we can plot a diagram where we can put all these three quantities in three dimension, that is known as phase diagram. Now if PVT diagram, that will you will obviously we will not be able to just draw on a paper because that is two-dimensional paper. So we usually ignore volume V, and now we can draw the graph between P and T, and now we can use two dimension to plot the graph. So here whenever we will plot the graph between P and T, that will be known as pressure temperature diagram. Now in such a diagram, each phase corresponds to a region or area. So the boundary between any two area is the curve on which the two phases can coexist in equilibrium state. So let's see now figure here. So the first figure, let's see one by one here. If we will now plot the pressure temperature diagram for first water. So this is now the on which if we will take the temperature, that is on which we are taking pressure now, pressure P now. Now if we will plot the graph, then this kind of graph we will obtain, this kind of graph we will obtain, where we can see now, we can denote this whole things for here to here as the dotted lines. I think you can see now, and let's give the name of this where these three dotted lines are meeting, that is P, this point as C, this point as E, this point as A, B. Now this is C, D, this is our E, F point. Now for this one, if you will see this line C to D, this is known as ice line. Later I will tell you why we are calling it ice line. Now this is known as, this line is known as steam line. This is known as steam line. And now the next one, this one is known as hoarfrost line. So these are first three lines. Now here what is represented by these three lines? So in this area that you can see this steam line and ice line that is covering, here the state of water, that is in liquid form, that is in water form, where now this ice line and hoarfrost line, this is covering the area where we are observing water in the ice form, and here in this state where steam line and hoarfrost line is working, in this one the water is obtained in the state of, that is in steam form. So we can see now on two dimension we can plot the graph for three phases at a single time with the help of pressure temperature diagram, and this kind of diagram we will get. So let's see now the explanation of this diagram first. So for the explanation of three diagram, we can see the first line that we have, that is AB. So this AB we can see, that is steam line, and for water we are calling it steam line, but we can also call it, for any general liquid we can call it vaporization line. So let's see first explanation of this AB, that is now we can say it, that is vaporization line, VL. So what is now vaporization each of them, what it is representing, what is the meaning of that one. So this it represent the variation of boiling point of the substance with pressure. Means from A to B you will see on the boiling point how it is varying with change in temperature. It is representing it because in this condition the water starts to vaporize. So it will vaporize above the boiling point. So how the boiling point is changing with pressure now. At any point on the vaporization line, the temperature and pressure that values are such that the substance can coexist in liquid and vapor phase. Means if you will find out at AB any of the liquid or any of the material matter that will be coexist in two form. Means this is a line that divides two states. One state is gaseous state, second state is liquid state. It is dividing two states and it is the line of these two states. Means at this line AB, the two state of the matter can coexist with each other. Means at a certain pressure and temperature we can observe the coexistence of two phases together, and that is a coexistence of liquid phase and vapor phase or liquid phase and gaseous phase together, then that line is known as steam line or vaporization line. So this is I think now clear. First what this line is showing to us, this line is showing here two of the state can coexist with each other. Similarly if you will come to this line, ice line, that is for AB we have seen this is showing the coexisting we have here for liquid gas system. Clear? Now the second one here, let's see for CD. And CD if you can see that is written as ice line. Ice we are observing for water that is in solid phase. So it means that this line we can also call it like fusion line or solid line, we can also say it. So here now the fusion line CD, what it is defining, you can see by the graph, it is dividing two states by each other. Means the liquid state and the solid state. Here above this line the liquid is in water form, below this line it is in ice form. Means it is dividing two states, that is ice and water, that is in general solid and liquid phases. So again we can see at this line CD for a particular temperature and pressure, here the molecule or the system will be again in coexisting form where liquid and solid both phase will coexist together. So the here in this range we can see the liquid and solid both states will coexist together. I think clear this one. Now the third one, let's see in this diagram, that is this EF. So let me just rub this line first. So let's see the third one, that is EF. So EF we can see this is now called a crossed line. Now what is the meaning of this line here? So Horkhorst also for the case of water where ice and steam, two phases can coexist together, but this is not possible basically for the ice, but for certain range of temperature and pressure we can see this situation can also coexist. Means directly ice steam that can coexist together, that is now this ice and steam means solid and gas. These two states are categorized or divided by this line, and at this line obviously these two states will coexist together, then that line is known as Horkhorst line for water case. But it, in general if you will write for that can be written as sublimation. Sublimation line. Means sublimation line is saying below, if ever this side if you will come, means for lower pressure if you will see for lower temperature if you will see, it will be in ice form or in solid form, but for higher temperature it will have in steam form, or in gas form. So here it is also possible the direct conversion of solid into gaseous system, that is defined by this line. So all the change in state or change of state of matter, that can be easily understandable by pressure temperature phase diagram. So this is very important diagram to just understand change of state as well as how the two states are coexisting for a particular pressure and temperature they will coexist. That can be calculated by this two-dimensional diagram. Also one thing we can see, there is a point P where all these three lines are meeting. Means for this particular point all three phases will coexist together. Again this point is very important point where all these three phases like solid, liquid, gas, three phases will coexist together. Now this point is known as triple point. So for water we can also see it. For other liquids which can be also obtained these lines now triple points where all these three stages, means all the phases of matter can coexist together. That is known as now concept of triple point here. So if you will see now for water the triple point temperature, that is 273.16 degree Kelvin, and if you will see for the mercury column, that is 0.46 centimeter. Similarly for carbon dioxides the triple point is 216.4 degrees Celsius, 4 Kelvin. So similarly here means temperature, and also for the pressure we can calculate that, like for the carbon dioxide the triple point is pressure, or this one is 5.11 atmosphere. So this is I think very understandable phasor diagram through which one we can easily understand how the change of the state and how is the coexisting behavior, that we can understand, and how many change is possible. Means even solid can be converted into water, water can be converted into gaseous system, means solid can be converted into liquid, liquid is convertible into gases, as well as solid is convertible into gases, and vice versa. Now students, this is clear. Now the next topic after this discussion is the topic of latent heat. So as latent heat I have told you, this is the heat that you can define now. This is the heat of the substance, is amount of heat energy required to change the state of unit mass of the substance from one phase to another phase without any change in temperature. So like in change of state, the graph we have plotted, in that graph we have seen the one of the state where liquid was converting into vapor, but there was not any change in temperature. So that heat where change of state is taking place without changing temperature, that is known as latent heat here. Now after this one, let's see the next topic here. So next topic of this one is now limit of specific heat of gas. So let's see now where we can put the limit for the specific heats of the gas. So here if you know that the delta Q, that is amount of heat required to raise the temperature of mass m of the gas through a small range delta T, then the specific heat of the gas, that is given by C is equal to delta Q upon m into delta T. We can give it by this one. Now suppose this is now our equation number 1. Now first one, here. The first limitation, if the gas starts to compress suddenly, means now if gas start to suddenly compressed, or in that case means no heat is allowed to supplied from outside. Means if even gas is compressed but that no heat is supplied to outside, then that time you can say no heat is required to compress the gas, delta Q is 0. So if delta Q will be 0, then C will be 0 in that case obviously. Means in that case we cannot understand, we cannot define the specific heat for that case. So means where a sudden compression takes place in gases, specific heat starts to vanish. Second one, if the gas starts to heated and allowed to expand at such a rate that the rise in temperature due to heat supplied is exactly equal to fall in temperature due to expansion of the gas. Means heating and expansion both are taking in the gas, and the heat required to expand the gas, that is equal to the temperature that is falling due to the expansion of the gas. So if in that condition again the net change in temperature you will see that becomes 0. So if net change in temperature becomes 0, then that time the specific heat that starts to become infinite, and that is not possible again. And in that case again the concept of specific heat starts to be a limitation. The third one, if the rate of expansion of gas is very slow, means the gas is expanding very slowly, means if you will see the change in temperature, then that change in temperature again that is very small. So if the change in temperature that will be very small, or change in temperature that starts to change slowly, that is positive value. So for that case, if rate of change of temperature that is very slow, the C has positive value. And the fourth case, when the rate of or gas will starts to expand very fastly, then in that case temperature will starts to fall very fastly and it will have negative value. So C will also have negative value. That is also a limitation case. Means we conclude that the specific heat of the gas can have any positive value ranging from 0 to infinity, and further specific heat of the gas can never even be negative. So that exact value of specific heat that depends upon the heating mode of the gas. So what is the heating mode? It is depending on that factor. Now after this, I think this limitation is now clear for the specific heat. In all these conditions, the specific heat starts to show some different behavior, different things, and that you can understand now. Now let's see the next one here, that is two principal specific heats of the gas. So how many types of now specific heats we have? So here let's see one by one. The first one, it is called now here, out of many values of specific heat of the gas, there are two very special significant specific heats. They are, first one, specific heat of the gas at constant volume. The first one, that is specific heat of the gas at constant volume. We can represent it by Cv. The second one, specific heat of the gas at constant pressure. That is called by Cp now. So Cv and Cp, these two things we have. Now let's see one by one here. The first one is specific heat of the gas at constant volume. So let's see what is this one. So it is defined as Cv, that is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of the substance by 1 degree Celsius when volume is kept constant. So I think that is clear. Similarly, Cp, if you will define, that is the heat required to change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius whenever the pressure of the gas that is kept constant, and we are taking the mass of the substance, that is 1 gram mass of the substance. Now also we can see now instead of considering 1 gram, we are using molar specific heat of the gas. So this Cv and Cp, they are basically known as molar specific heats at constant volume and at constant pressure. Now if you will see the relationship between specific heats, then for the gases they are represented by or related by first of all gamma, where gamma is known as atomicity of the gas. So if the gas has different atomicity, then the relationship or ratio of Cp and Cv, that will be also different. Now next one, if we will see the relationship for Cp and Cv, then it has been seen that Cp is greater than Cv always. So let's see why Cp is greater than Cv now. So as here, when heat that is given to the gas at constant volume, then it is only used in increasing the thermal energy of the gas, in raising the temperature of the gas, and no heat that is expended in the expansion of the gas. So it means that whenever at constant volume we will provide the temperature, then that or heat, then whole of the heat will be used as to increase the temperature. But whenever the heat that is given at constant pressure, then that time two things are appearing. One is there is continuous increase in temperature, and the second one, there is also expansion of the gas. Means both these things are working at a single place. So due to the expansion of the gas, as temperature will start to fall, but due to supply of heat, the temperature starts to increase. But due to continuous fall, we need more heat to increase the temperature by the same amount as it has been done by the heat required to change temperature at constant volume. So we can see now, even for change in the same temperature delta T, we need more specific heat or more heat whenever the pressure is constant than when pressure volume is constant. So Cp is simple greater than Cv. Reason is that, as in case of this one, heat is not gas is not expanding, but in this one gas is expanding, and that's why it is. Now if we will see the relationship between Cp and Cv, then that is given by Mayer's formula that we will discuss later, and that is now given by Cp minus Cv. This is equal to R, where R is known as gas constant. So they are related by this formula that is known as now Mayer's formula. So students, now with this one, the one part of the chapter that we have covered. So in next part of the chapter, the things that we will discuss, that is now transfer of heat. So how now we will discuss how the heat is transferred from one system to another system. So basically there are now, whenever you can see a rod that you will take and you will heat the rod at one end, then after some time you can feel the heating effect at the another end of the rod. Means heat is getting transmitted from one place to another place. Similarly, whenever we are boiling the liquid, keeping in any vessel, then we are providing the heat. Even whenever we are providing heat to the bottom or top of the liquid can also be boiled. So this is, in this way we can see heat is transferred, but in all the phases heat is transferred in different way. So one by one we will see how the heat is transferred. So in solids, if we will see, or in all the phases if collectively we will see, then heat is transferred by three modes. The first mode is called conduction, second is called convection, third is called radiation. So there are three possible methods to transfer heats, and then first possible, in conduction we need a medium, in convection we also need a medium, but for for radiation we don't need any kind of medium. Like we can see the light energy, or that is also carrying heat with it, that is coming, or the sun energy that we can feel now at even on earth, that is coming from the space without any medium. It is coming, it is traveling. So that energy or travel is known as radiation. Conduction, like just now I have given the example of rod, that is the example of conduction. And convection, that is in wind system we can also see, in monsoon season we can see the concept of convection, or if we are cooking the rice or we are cooking the water, even in that system convection process we can see. So students, I think a brief about the idea about the transfer of heat is now clear to you. So let's end our class here with this discussion today. Rest of the things let's discuss in next class in detail. So thank you students for today.